It's Monday, August the 16th. I'm Chase Hill. This is the King of the Mountain State Show. My guest tonight competed in round one as a heavyweight July 9th in Bluefield. He ended up getting the TKO victory against Nicholas Fisher. Looked pretty impressive, heavy-handed, very good balance. You could see the former wrestler in him all night long, tough guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Bad Matt Adams.
Thanks, Chase. I appreciate you guys having me on the show, and appreciate everything you said, the kind words you had to say, everything.
So to start with, man, you're just across the river there in Ohio. I know you've been doing some fighting in West Virginia and that kind of stuff. To start with, I've been learning a little bit, just like the fans have been learning about who you are. So take a minute, tell me, I know you got a little girl at home. So tell me a little bit about where you're living at and the family and what you do and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got a little girl at home. She's my princess. We bought a house as soon as she was born about a year and a half ago. I run heavy equipment for a living, and I run it with my dad. We do a company outside New Lexington, Ohio, with 1,200 acres. And I dabble a little bit of everything. I buy and sell cars, trade cars, just a little bit of everything. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. She works at a gym part time, but I'd rather stay at home because she's an awesome mom. But yeah, my little daughter Graceland, she really keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, they do. I know all about that. One of the things, like whenever we first got into this fight game and we started talking, of course, I know, some guys that, we got some mutual friends, but when you and I first started talking, you told me a little bit about your wrestling background and you were a pretty highly decorated wrestler, which is transitioning into the fight game. Tell me a little bit about that when you were a wrestler.
Yeah, I transferred schools my sophomore year. I never even stepped on a wrestling mat till my junior year. I only wrestled 2 years. I played football for the school I was at before I transferred, and then I transferred, and I set out sports because I was transferred my first year. So going in my junior year, I was going to play football, and I had a wrestling coach. Coach Ratliff approached me. He's like, hey, "Come try out for a team. You look like a strong kid." I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I became friends with a few of the guys on the team, and they're like, "Hey, come out and try. Come out and try." So I ended up going out wrestling. And my first year, I made the state. Didn't do as well as I wanted to. I lost my matches by a point each match, only my first year. So my second year, going into my senior year, my whole summer I wrestled. Every open tournament, every tournament you could put me in. I spent a lot of money traveling to wrestle. And going into my senior year, I wasn't ranked. I was ranked I think 12th in the state. I had a really good senior year, really good show, and I ended up winning state, going almost undefeated that year. I got hurt.
Now, is that in a heavyweight division or like what weight class were you wrestling in?
I wrestled heavy, but I was a light heavy because a lighter heavyweight. There were a lot of guys were walking around cutting weight, make heavy. I walked around about 230, so I could eat whatever I wanted. I felt good, but we had a 220. I could have cut and made 220, but we had a full lineup with me being heavy, so I just stuck out there.
So a lot of the skills, I'm one of those guys that I think fighting is fighting. I think that some of the lessons and adversity that you face, whether it's wrestling or whether it's boxing, transitions into the other ones. What was the point? Tell me this. How did Matt Adams go from the former high school wrestler? Now, you forgot to mention, but I'm not going to. What was it? Was there an All-American or something in there that you had won?
Yeah, I was a two-time All-American. Well, if you can consider it going in with nationals. I won nationals, I won state, and I won freestyle nationals as a team. But I won state nationals as individual. So coming out my senior year, I was ranked first in the nation as a heavyweight. I had full ride to pretty much any college of my choosing, really. But school just wasn't for me. I was a worker. I worked my whole life growing up. I came from a blue-collar family. So I worked my whole life, So coming out, I went to college for about 4 weeks, wasn't for me. Went back home with my mom. I'm a mama's boy at the time, still am. But so went back home and just started working, running heavy equipment. I got in that trade at a young age, so I fell in love with it when I was young, and that's what I follow now.
So a very successful wrestling career, always mechanically sound, doing hard work, that kind of stuff. At what point do you decide to open this chapter of your story and become, I know you do some MMA, but to become a fighter, whether it's a boxer, MMA, how did that all begin?
At a young age, man, I just every young boy, you get in some scraps, you get in some street fights. You just do you do your thing. Growing up, I never really lost the street fight. So I knew I could fight, but I didn't tie it together till after wrestling. And everyone was like, hey man, if you're not going to wrestle, you should try MMA. You'll love it. So my first MMA match, I fought heavy. I was light. I ended up beating the dude, knocking him out in 48 seconds, fell in love with it instantly. Then after that, I had I never trained, never even stepped in a gym when I first fought. My first couple fights, never stepped foot in a gym, just went out there and fought. Then I lost my second match, and after that, I kind of slowed down fighting. Had some stuff happen. My mom ended up passing away, so I took a step back from fighting and just focused on work. And then ended up having my daughter and stuff. So, and then it was really my wife. She kind of pushed me towards like getting back and fighting. She's like, "Hey, you need to do this. You're young still. I'm only 23, so I seem like a lot older than I am." But so I'm like, one day I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's get back into it."
Well, your shirt there, VO2 Fitness. I mean, of course, I know who your coach is. I want you to get a chance to kind of talk about him. I've been doing this for 11 years. I've been around fights, whether I was promoting them, managing fighters. At one point, I was the chairman of the athletic commission for the state, and I've seen it from all different angles. Now, I've met some really great coaches, Coach Joe Board, Scott Kuhn, Mike Shepard. I could go on, but I would put Justin Navaria up there with all those guys. The only difference is he's really young too. And, he's a great person. He knows the science of it. So tell me a little bit about the gym and the coaching that you've been getting since you decided to go with this thing kind of 100%.
Yeah, I joined VO2 real late. I've been there probably about 2 months. When I took that fight, I probably was there about 2 weeks before that fight, 2.5 weeks before that fight. I walked in the gym with my buddy, which he fought on the card, Brody, and he said, "Hey man, come to VO2." I'm like, "All right," because I was training a couple different gyms, just making a drive, hitting there, hitting here, not really staying at gym. I didn't really ever fall in love with the gym. I went there and I just clicked with a lot of fighters, and then me and Justin we didn't really talk at first. I talked to mainly the owner Joey. Me and him clicked really hard, and then I came around because Teddy, well, you call him Justin, Teddy, but he was getting extra work with Brody. I'm like, "Hey man, I want to get extra work, and I want to get some extra work, and I need it." And so we started clicking, talking back and forth on Facebook, and then ended up me and him started getting some extra work and hitting mitts. And he told me, he's like, "Hey man, you can be really a force to be reckoned with. You want to get in this boxing thing," because I was a late replacement, as you know. I wasn't the first guy to get invited. So Brody got invited, and then like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, Justin's like, "Hey man, does not want to do this." And I'm one of them guys. I'll fight back-to-back weeks. I'll fight Saturday, a Sunday, a Monday. I don't care. I'll fight any day you put me on. Right after a fight with you, I had your tournament, and then I had Mike Shepard's tournament that next Friday down in West Virginia in May. So,
well, and I trust Teddy Bear, as we know him. I trust Teddy Bear's opinion on about everything. I'll help him use me to set up the angle of the lights for the show and to train guys and just anything. And when he calls me and he says, "I'm telling you, this guy, he's throwing lunch boxes. He's like, his hands are like lunch boxes. He can really hit and he's super tough." He said, "I really want to get him in there." And I'm glad that he did. That was one of those things that when he reached out to me, he was right. So if things continue to grow and this fight game ends up being something that you really latch on to, I think you've got all the tools. It's just getting the experience and you got the right coach in that. What's your goals? Like, where's this thing going to go to? What is the next level for you? Or where's which direction are you going to take this? Because you could go MMA, you could go boxing, you could do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, I like to be a two-sport. I like to go pro in both of them. I really think I can, being young as I am. I mean, I started kind of early, but then I kind of took a break. But I want to go pro in boxing. I want to go pro in May. I had your fight, and then I won the following week. I had a May match. It was a tough fight. I ended up winning, though, pulling out the win. My goal is to fight this heavyweight tournament. I want to be king of the mountain, obviously. That's why we're in there. We're not in there just to be buddies. I'm in there to take people's heads off, Right. And then after that, I'm starting my cut down to 205 for MMA. So after that, if I win that, even if I don't win, I'm starting my cut. I want to fight 205 MMA. Now I want to keep boxing, though. I like to keep boxing. I like to turn pro in both sports. Make some money off of it, enjoy it, have fun while I'm young, see where it takes me. You never know what's going to happen day to day.
Well, and cutting to 205 for your MMA weight class, you're sitting around the pro weight class in boxing of cruiserweights, 200 pounds. That's right there together where it's the same kind of training. Plus, at cruiserweight in boxing, you're not going to run into the 6'5", 6'6" kind of guys that's got the reach and that kind of stuff. So I mean, I think with your size and strength, if you fought at cruiserweight, you'd be a load to deal with. What do you think? Tell me a little bit about the round one experience. Whenever you got to King of the Mountain State, and what was that like?
Oh man, it was awesome. I'm not one of them guys. I've been on the big stage of wrestling. I had 13,000 people watch me at state. I had more than that watch me. So like when it comes to nerves, I really don't get nervous. Like I'm calm. There's two outcomes to a fight. You're gonna go out and you're gonna win, or you're gonna go out and you're gonna perform shitty and you're gonna lose. Crappy. So going into it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have fun with this, because Brody was originally the guy that was starting it, and I'm like, dude, I think I can make it fun. It's like from the get go, I told Teddy, I'm like, I'm not going out there to lose, I'm going out there to win. He's like, all right, have fun. So like going in there, I'm like, oh, I feel good. I felt like best I felt in a while. My punches were kind of off. My footwork was kind of off. Didn't really feel it in there. I felt my punches were strong. I just feel like I need to tighten some things up. I'm one of them guys. I don't like yes men. I don't want anyone to come up to me and tell me, hey man, you did great. I want people to come to me, hey man, this is what you did wrong. Your feet work need work. Your hands need you need to throw straight punches instead of hooks the whole time. So, but other than that, man, it was a great experience. Definitely different. Definitely different. Because
go ahead.
In MMA, I'm a wrestler, so I'm used to taking down. I'm used to grappling. So my biggest flaw was always my stand-up game. That was always my biggest flaw. So getting to work on that and fight at the same time is something that I love. It's fun.
Well, I look forward to seeing even the newest version of Matt Adams going into round two. I'm sure there's some things you've worked on to tighten up, like you said, and improve. Your matchup this time around is Jesse Byron. Jesse Byron had the knockout of the night, round one. He's a guy that with a lot of similarities of you. He's a big, strong guy. He doesn't have much experience in the ring, heavy-handed. It looks like a great matchup on paper. I know you saw his fight. I'm sure you've got a chance to look at that. So tell me a little bit about, we're now 12 days away from round two. Tell me what are we going to see round two?
Oh man, it's gonna be fun. Actually, that dude's pretty cool. Nothing but respect to him. He was drinking a beer with my dad after the fight. He was outside drinking beer with my old dad.
Right.
So nothing but respect to him. He's not gonna close his eyes and get a lucky punch on me this fight. I can tell you that. You can close your eyes and throw haymakers all you want. That's not gonna happen to me. Anything can happen in a fight, but now he's losing that fight. Let's be honest. Nothing but respect to him and Browning, but definitely he looked kind of slow in that fight. Hopefully he picks up pace because I'm a fast-paced person. I like starting hot and I'll end the hot. My cardio is good for how big I am, so I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I'm honored getting in the ring with him and see where it goes. Hopefully he throws some heavy hits. Hopefully he gets me with a few.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. You go down, you start to look at the fight card as these things always come together, and you start to circle some fights where it's like you don't want to be up getting popcorn during this one. And that's one of those fights where anything can happen. It's going to be super explosive. We're 12 days away. King of the Mountain State 2 coming up, round 2 for the heavyweights. There's 8 of you guys left. After that, we'll be down to 4. We'll wrap this thing up this year and crown the king of the Mountain State, which is going to be pretty cool. Take a minute. If there's anybody out there you need to give a shout out to, anything like that, go ahead and do that before we wrap this thing up.
Yeah, just give a shout out to like all my training partners. Give a shout out to my boy Jakim. He pushes me at press. Justin, Joey, give a big shout out to Joe. He let me in his gym. He's like family to me. Nothing but respect to him. He does a lot for me.
That's Joey. That's Joey Carr that you're talking about, right?
Joey Studer.
I'm sorry. He actually owns the gym, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's him and his family are great, man. He does stuff for me that people don't see. He helps me a lot. So nothing but respect to him. Respect to my wife, my daughter. They're my biggest support system. They push me day in, day out to get better. Tell my wife, get to the gym. You need to get your cardio better. Go do this. Get that. So nothing but shout out to my family. My dad, he always makes trips down. So yeah, just big shout out to the gym, everybody there, and my wife and my daughter.
All right, man. It is 12 days, not this Saturday, but next Saturday in Huntington, West Virginia. We'll have the 4 heavyweight fights. We're going to start our light heavyweight division on there. It should be an awesome event. I'm glad you're a part of it. Thank goodness you got in it late because it's been exciting
Oh
so
yeah.
far. The matchup's going to be really good. I look forward to seeing you guys. Eh, Tickets are available online. kingofwv.ticketleap.com. And it's going to be streamed live pay-per-view on combatsportsnow.com. They did a great job last time. We're looking forward to that again. All right, man. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you taking time to do this interview with me.
Yes, sir. You have a great night. I appreciate everything you guys are doing down there.
All right, man. Train hard.
All right. You be safe, man. Be easy.